but I had no idea I'd be in the laundry industry. That nobody shut the door on me except me. The most motivating word in the English language is no. Do something simple very well. The money's the easy part. This is a people business.
Hey everyone, Dave Menz, Laundromat Millionaire, coming to you from Cincinnati, Ohio for another fantastic episode of the Laundromat Millionaire Show. I'm here with my gorgeous wife, Carla, and a fantastic guest that some of you are going to know because he's pretty active in the industry. And I'm excited to bring him in, have a conversation with him, and we're going to bring you guys lots of what I call golden nuggets about the laundromat industry and how to do things better. Carla, you want to introduce our guest?
Okay, so today we have with us Daniel Sofranko. He is from Newport Beach, California.
Hey.
He is the owner of Perfect Wash Express Laundry Center in Huntington Beach, California. His location includes self-service, fluff and fold, and pickup and delivery laundry services. So Daniel, welcome to our show today.
Hey,
so nice
thanks a lot,
you
you guys. Hey, same here. It's a pleasure to be here with you both.
We appreciate you getting up so early. I know you're 3 hours behind us. No, I'm just joking. Just so our audience knows, it's actually being recorded in the evening. So when we're dealing with these California people, we have to take me and Jordan Berry, we bicker over this all the time, and I call East Coast time. I refer to it as real time, and he doesn't he doesn't like that because
he likes like, West Coast, Best Coast.
That's what he always says. Yeah. So anyway, little shout out.
He didn't call it Cali, did he? Because you're not.
No, I don't think so. But I wouldn't put it past him.
All right. Well, listen, man, we are super excited to have you on the show, and we want to dive right into your story. I know you. I know some of your story, but I'm actually excited to learn myself. So first of all, thank you for taking the time to join us because I know your time is valuable to you, and we appreciate you spending this time with us. So listen, what we like to ask our guests to do, if you don't mind, is just give us a little of a backstory, a little bit of a context of your childhood, your upbringing, and what brought you into the entrepreneurial world.
Well, for me, I grew up in a business household. You know, my parents have, my dad was corporate when I was growing up, and my mom did a lot of learning, a lot of reading. And then later on, that turned into the two of them running a real estate investment company together. And they still run that together. They're in their 70s. They definitely work more than they should, but they work together. They haven't killed each other yet, which is fantastic. But so I grew up in that household, learning business. My grandfather was a great entrepreneur. He bought a lot of property. His brother started a hardware store in the San Gabriel Valley that's still there today, run by my second cousins. So the whole family was very entrepreneurial. And in fact, it was my great grandmother who came over here from Italy, and twice. And she liked it so much, she went back and got some more of her family and came here and started a feed store, which is where the hardware store is still today. And so I grew up in that household. I grew up learning ethics of business, how to do business well, how to be an honest person, and learn the value of a dollar. And I always knew growing up that that's where I would end up. I have to start my own business, which is great because in today's HR environment, there's no way I could ever survive in a corporate environment. I mean, and we don't have to get into that, but
Dave says that too.
I say that all the time. Absolutely.
And ironically, and I'm sure the same with you, is I'm my own HR manager in my business. And I'm like, isn't that funny?
I have to write myself up all the time, but
I've been fired and rehired anyway. But and so I grew up around business and the right way to do things. And so I started by selling cookies in the front yard when I was 8, and then I started a animal care service when I was 10, 11 years old. Someone asked if I could take care of their dog in their house, and that turned into kind of business cards and advertising campaign, door to door.
I have to ask, were these things, since you grew up in a house of multi-generational entrepreneurs and business owners, was this just like natural, or did they like teach you and instill and encourage these things, or maybe both?
It's both, but they didn't force. My destiny was up to me. And honestly, I'm ADD. I've had ADD long enough to say ADD, not ADHD. I'm 42, so I kind of losing my age, but
I don't know the difference, but my wife does. She's a teacher, so
yeah.
but we
He's
won't go
losing
there.
the hyperactivity. Now
Okay.
he just
There's a
has
whole
an attention deficit.
Gotcha.
There's a whole chapter on me on the DSM. Look it up. But I get to set my own destiny. I could do, my parents always encouraged ideas. I do enjoy writing. And so they said, well, you could go to USC Film School and you could write movies. You could go to, selling cookies on the sidewalk, like I mentioned. Oh, you should go to study entrepreneurship at USC. Okay, so I think this part of this is kind of coerced, but
so they definitely wanted you to go to college and pursue
Yeah.
education.
Oh yeah, no,
you could
my
do whatever you
grandfather.
wanted with it.
Right. No, my grandfather says you gotta get yourself college education. You gotta get all A's, And then, when I took time off after high school, he was hounding my mom. When's he gonna go to school? Dad, he's gonna go when he's ready. He's gonna go when he's ready. And I did. I'm glad I took some time off, and I did a lot of different things in that period of time.
Like what? What were they?
The first job was delivering food for a company called Restaurants on the Run. This is one of the original food delivery companies.
So this is like before Grubhub and DoorDash. It was the original.
The 90s. This is my
wow.
first job in high school, the late 90s. Yeah, I was driving around Newport Beach. That was great. I was a trainer there and did that for a few years, and then got into automotives. And so I learned I'm an engine service specialist. Certificate, and could have gone on to do ASE training next, but I was like, I don't know if I want to be in automotives forever, and that's the point when I ran back to school and got serious about it. But all of this came into it. I was like, hey, my first job was delivery driver. Now I'm chauffeuring laundry, and we don't go too far from things. And, the automotives absolutely comes into it. I used to build engines and work on suspensions, everything from oil changes to building a race car for the street or the track. And that comes in handy in the laundry industry. I mean, the motors are belt driven, and they're on an adjustment bracket that looks like an alternator from the 60s. And you loosen it up, you pull the motor, then you tighten. I mean, it's the same thing. And so, a lot of life experience. I've done enough of my share of hard living as well. And so it all culminates into how I run the business and the people that I surround myself with. And I never could have predicted that this is what it would look like, but I knew it'd be like this. I knew that it could be successful. It could be everything that all the inputs of my life would come out in this. But I had no idea I'd be in the laundry industry. And one of the things that it was a lifelong dream of mine to actually attend the entrepreneurship program at USC. And I did that. Mm-hmm. And it was, I transferred in. My grades sucked in high school. I went to junior college twice. Actually, I'm going to side note here. First time I went to junior college was right after high school. I spent three semesters there. I got a cumulative GPA of 0.92. They put me on academic. Yeah.
Hey,
wow.
Academic probation.
I just want to point out, if we round up, that's an even one. Just saying.
Yeah. Hey. If I showed up, if I showed up one more day, right? And so they put me on academic probation and said, look, if you don't get your grades up, we're going to, kick you out of Orange Coast College. And I was like, okay. Well, the following semester, they kicked me out of Orange Coast College. And then I went to school for automotives and got, had a 3-year journey like doing that. And then I went back. In my coveralls because I was working as a mechanic. My hair was long and unkept. Oh my God, back then. And I went and spoke to a counselor, Mr. Snyderman. I'll never forget Mr. Snyderman. And he looked at me across the desk and said, well, what's your goal? I said, I want to study business and entrepreneurship at USC. He looks down at my transcripts. He looks back up and says, well, maybe you should think about something more realistic.
Wow.
Okay. What do I need? I said, what do I need? He says, you need a 3.76 to average out what the first 3 semesters, and that should be enough. But you need to get A's or B's in these 4 core transfer classes. I said, 3.76. I'll see you in 2 years. 2.5 years later, I went looking for them, couldn't find them, but I got a 3.96 and an acceptance letter to USC. And I have to say that I kind of wanted to rub it in his face, and being older and wiser now, I should have gone there to thank him, because the most motivating word in the English language is no. And someone is trying to close a door on me. And my life experience has taught me that nobody shut the door on me except me, which is another problem. But I'm proud of the fact that you try to do that. You try to tell me no, I'm going to show you yes.
So when you got out of college, what did you do from there? I mean, I think there's if I'm thinking about the timing, there was a gap, right? Did you do real estate like your family, or?
Okay, well, when I got out of college, I graduated college. I went to school late, and so I graduated high school in 98. I graduated college in 08.
Okay.
And so I graduated the best year ever, right there in the middle of the Great Recession.
Lots of jobs.
Lots of jobs. And it doesn't matter that I had a business degree from USC. I mean, when you have a great degree like that, that comes into play when you're using it. But until you're hired and get some experience, every college graduate's just a college graduate, entry level. And until you're tested, you think you know everything, and you don't realize you don't for a good 10 years if you're lucky. but I was unemployable. I got tired of listening to my parents, kind of getting behind on some stuff, some deferred maintenance, and a couple turnovers that weren't getting finished, and they were kind of getting a little overwhelmed. So I said, okay, I rented a truck, I cleared out a couple of the storage units, I got some turnovers turned, got some maintenance done, and really kind of just jumped in without being asked to work on some of their real estate projects, and got their revenue kicked up a little bit, and help them buy a couple new buildings and grow a little bit. So that's just kind of what I did for the next, I guess, 4 years, between 08 and 2012, when I first got the inkling of the research the laundry industry.
How did that come about? Like, you're working for your family business. I would think it would be a very natural transition to just do more of that, get more involved, maybe be promoted, start your own real estate company. But instead you were like, Squirrel.
Laundromat.
And by Squirrel, I mean Laundromat. How did that come about? You just read it in the magazine?
You remind me of one of my favorite jokes with Squirrel, because it's like, how many ADD kids does it take to change a light bulb?
How many?
Do you want to ride bikes? Or the alternate answer is squirrel.
Got it.
But,
got it.
With my folks, they work well together, right? And they didn't really need me. It was nice, the stuff I did. I caught them up, helped them get caught up. They're very capable of running that business. They have more people helping them now, but it just wasn't the right fit. So I had to find a fit.
Mm-hmm. How did you get into the laundromat industry?
It was a sunny, perfect beach day in April of 2012. So having kind of a rough week. Yeah, first week of April 2012. So I called a friend of mine who lives in downtown Huntington Beach on 18th Street. And I just needed to hang out with somebody. And I said, hey man, what are you doing? And he goes, why don't we go do laundry? You want to come hang out? Yeah.
You were that desperate?
Yeah.
I'll hang out while you do laundry.
This was the third time I've ever been in a laundromat my entire life. And so no, we were in this terrible 40-year-old laundromat. He lives on 18th, this is on 17th. And it's been there, and it's just kind of ignored. It was owned by the same people that owned the entire strip mall and ran the liquor store. So they just kind of had this off to the side, and it was overlooked, and like 2/3 of the machines didn't work. And we're just standing there at this, terrible Formica folding table. And he looks at me and says, we should buy this place and fix it up. And so I looked around, I looked back at him. All right.
I love it. Yeah,
it. Just that. Just like Mr. Snyderman, choose something more realistic. My friend Lori is like, hey, we should buy this. all right, and that's when you got to watch out for us entrepreneurs, when we're just real calm. Yeah, okay, yeah, let's do it. That's when it happens. And so Lori he went off and got a corporate job. So it just became me. I just started researching. I started going to the laundries. Like I said, it was my third time ever in a laundromat. And I came up with a kind of a research sheet when I'd walk in and take some notes, take some pictures, write down what the machine mix is, prices, who the customers look like, who's working there. Jordan was talking about in his podcast how he was chased out of a few places. When
I think we all have been.
Yeah. When you go in there dressed like this and you don't have laundry, they know who you are. You're either there to use the bathroom or pump them for information. I see them walking through the door every time.
Yep.
And I ran into an attendant in one of the stores. I was like, I'm in college because I still, just recently got out, and I'm doing research for a school project. And she knew I was full of it, but she gave me all the information. And what she recommended was, okay, first of all, don't even consider buying one top loader, and join the Coin Laundry Association.
This is the attendant, or this is the owner?
This is attendant.
This is a pretty well-educated attendant.
Yes. And she's very well-versed in the industry. She had about 10 years of experience.
Nice.
Does she work for you now?
She did. Yeah.
She did.
Yeah, she did. She was my first manager. She was a great fit till she wasn't. Nothing bad, just, the situation outgrew itself. Yeah. I'm still only on my second manager. There's a lot of things that the first one's experience, we're still using, a lot of systems that were still in place, and really helped me get my start. But yeah, she recommended join the Coin Laundry Association, and I did. And when I got on the website, I noticed there's a lot of books, there's a lot of audio files, there's a lot of surveys, and I read all of it. I had a summer off, and I laid in this raft in a pool, and I listened to audio files. I read books. The research turned into momentum. And what I found was there's a lot of chemistry between myself and this industry, that I could build something to far exceed my customers' expectations. And I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I don't have to create, privately funded space travel, which is kind of cool anyway, but just polish an existing wheel, do something simple very well. I mean, these are fundamental concepts. And, there's a few things that I'm been kind of working on to kind of push the concept for my next one. Gonna have to refine some of those and start executing those before I can get too deep into those. But there's some, this industry is moving in different ways, and that's what I was learning in my research. The renaissance of the industry, the utility costs, the reaction by the manufacturers, how they build equipment, how stores are built, how involved distributors are now, and more so now than ever. And that's a double-edged sword.
It is.
If you've got a great distributor, you can be set. And if you have a great distributor who you trust, then it's like a family. And I think that is a huge part of any successful laundry owner's experience, is having the right team, the right distributor, working well together. Yes, I'm passionate about my brand of equipment, but there are two pieces of it. It's the people who work there and what they do for you, and the equipment they sell. And I got extraordinarily lucky on both fronts, and I would not be in this industry without either.
So I'm very, one of the good things about us not being us being a private organization is we can talk about people that are doing things well in the industry without having to say things like, oh, I have to be careful not to offend George if I compliment Peter. So the reality is, who's your distributor? Let's tell the industry how great they are.
Distributors, Continental, Girbal, West.
Oh, that West. Okay, gotcha.
West. So I'm going straight there now.
Is that Todd?
Todd.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So, Todd is actively every day looking at locations for my next
Mhm.
place. You know, in Southern California, we got a fickle real estate market right now. It's going to blow up. It's going to be huge, and we're gonna have our pick of commercial real estate in the next few years. But he's doing all this legwork. He's done, CAD drawings through Continental National. They're the art department. They've done CAD drawings for me for my next one, and it went nowhere. You know, the locations that didn't pan out. You know, they've done legwork for me. Todd and I, we are friends. We belong to the same tennis club. He plays tennis. I have the Eat and Swim membership. And Todd and Mike Floyd, the president of Continental, were both at my wedding. They were both invited as friends, not just, industry people, and they both showed up. That's the kind of relationship I have with these people at Continental. And
now, just to clarify, Daniel, did you have this, like, were you already friends with them before you got in the industry?
No.
Okay.
No, I met them through the industry. And in fact, let's just say my relationship with 100% of the people there hasn't been 100%. There have been some hiccups, and every hiccup there's been a solution right away. Boom, everything's been fixed. There's construction, and there's logistics, and there's sales, and there's cash changing hands a lot. Not everything's perfect in the world. Well, whenever it wasn't, they made it right.
Yeah,
and that's what matters.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of mutual trust here and mutual admiration. I mean, Mike and Todd have done a lot in this industry, and then they tell me they look up to me for what I'm doing. Hell, I'm only at one store, but they share the vision that I have for what got me to where I am and where I'm going next.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your, I'm sure you know this, Daniel, but I have a very similar relationship with my equipment distributor, a very similar story. And I consider Steve Millman a friend, absolutely, to this day. And I'm trying, you follow me on Facebook and stuff like that. You know that I'm always trying to point out to people that, yes, there's exceptions to everything. There's plenty of bad distributors out there. You and I are not going to tell them people it's not true. But the reality is the what I call gold distributors, the amazing distributors in our industry, they are worth their weight in gold. And if you're not careful, you might find a really good friend, because usually behind a great distributor is at least a great person, and a lot of times multiple great people. So I appreciate you sharing that, because one of the things I want our audience to understand is the value of a great distributor. I'm not saying that terrible distributors have any value, because they're terrible, but the great distributors are worth their weight in gold, and that's what you're saying. So I appreciate you sharing that. So I want to dive into your store, your actual store. Yeah. So you found a location on your own with your friend. He kind of bailed on you after he said you were going to buy it together.
And started doing your research.
That was for the better. For the better. Yeah.
And so you said, you know what, you're Dave Menz, right? So you're like, well, I'm already halfway done with this. I can't stop. This is a runaway freight trade. So walk me through the process of how you decided to buy it and why you decided to buy it, and then the renovations. Because one of the things that I want our audience to get out of this interview is that you took over a laundromat that was in really poor shape, but you turned it into a very, very, very nice laundromat. The fact that it was a laundromat doesn't even matter at this point, because you basically built a new store.
Yeah, I did. I think it would have been cheaper to build from a vanilla shell, minus whatever the impact fees would have been. So which is an unknown in this case.
First, finding the store. So I know you said you did all this research. You went into various laundromats, looked at the numbers, looked at the machines. So what made you decide the laundromat that you purchased, your first laundromat, and what condition was it in?
Well, that's where the idea budded from, that store. And so we were in that store. That was the first inkling of anything about the laundromat. So it was always my intention to try to acquire that one.
So did you actually acquire the store that you all did laundry in?
Yeah.
No
kidding.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Because you said you looked at a bunch of different ones. I assumed you went off to a different one.
Because I had to go into laundromats to see what they're about.
Yeah.
And so that was part of my research, because I decided to go and visit over 100 laundromats all over Southern California whenever I traveled. I just go in, just I could go catch 3-4 of them a day, if I'm on a mission, and just go take some notes and talk to people. And no, I did my research and just got a feel for it. There's a lot of places I walked out of just shaking my head going, my God, if these people can pay their rent, then I can be really successful in this business.
I think that's funny you say that, because I remember thinking that when I bought my first store. The guy I bought my first store from at one point had 22 laundromats, and he was very, very wealthy. Good, nice guy, but not the brightest in the world. And I remember thinking to myself, because I was pretty young and naive, but I was like, you know what? If he could be successful, and I'm looking at a store that's in really rough shape, I was like, I know I can figure this industry out. So tell us about buying the laundromat and what you did. Did you go in and shut it down right away and just cut it?
Was it even for sale?
No, it wasn't. Okay. I had to track down the owners, and then my friend who did laundry there, he says, I think the liquor store owners own this too. And so he says, how do you find that out? I says, well, let's walk over to the liquor store and ask them if they own the laundromat. Really? Yeah.
That's a novel idea.
Yeah. I walked right in there and I talked to the daughter. I guess the father had passed a couple years prior, had a heart attack right there in the liquor store.
Oh, goodness.
And with that family to own the place now, it's a story you've heard too many times. The dad or the parents start, a business. The kids don't all get along. So when they pass, they just chop everything up. Mm-hmm. And so I was telling I was interested in acquiring the store. So they says, look, we're not interested in getting a long-term lease because we're trying to sell the place, which they did. So I tracked him down. Another friend of a friend knew his daughter-in-law. They set us up. I went and I knew the daughter-in-law sort of, like as an acquaintance. She got me a meeting with him. He was hell-bent on just vanilla shelling this laundry. He didn't want a laundry there. He said, meet me at a Starbucks in Newport Beach and let's talk about it. And I knew this was an audition. I brought him my 30-page business plan that I wrote from scratch.
Audience, okay. I want our audience to pay very close attention to this. Go ahead. Sorry.
This is what I did. This is what I learned at USC in the entrepreneurship program, how to run a business through the feasibility funnel to figure out if the concept is right, and the business plan. The business plan is not about the format. It's about answering the questions inside of it and the legwork that went into those questions. That's the business plan, not the document. The document's a nice, placeholder, and you should refer back to it. So I wrote an original 30-page business plan with competition analysis, SWOT analysis, full set of financials, which turned out to be total BS because I didn't know what I was talking about. What's workers' comp? How much is that? What do people actually cost to employ in California? So I brought the business plan. It's all shiny, bound, this and that. He goes straight to the financials. Look at the concept. You have this much for labor. What does that buy you? And I guess I remember being on the spot, but I guess my answer was good enough. I don't remember it clearly. Maybe I'm trying to block it out, but he looked through there, and what he recognized was I had prepared a 30-page business plan and that I was serious about this. And, my parents who invested in the business, they wanted that too. And when I was at the Clean Show in 2014, and I went to the Eastern funding booth and I handed them a copy, I don't know if they looked through it, but I do remember someone saying, wow, this is a real business plan. They knew I was serious. They saw me there with a representative from Continental, and they shook my hand and said, fine, let's do it. And that was how I got funding. Well, I learned a valuable lesson at USC. They said, the money's the easy part. If the idea is good and the entrepreneur is good, the money will find you. And it's true. And I'm looking at my next location, and it's going to be at least 4 times the cost. And my wife and I bought this house 2 years ago, and we've never really been cash rich since. I don't have the cash right now. The existing store is doing fine, but I already know that the money will be there. I earned that through the industry, some of the sources where I know it's going to come from.
Well, I'm constantly telling people that that relationship capital, and I don't mean this in a manipulative way at all, very
No.
genuine. Relationship capital is one of the most important things that you can invest in and build in.
Yeah.
And that's what you're saying, right?
Absolutely. Look, nothing moves without people. This is one of the best lessons my parents ever gave me. And people move everything. Okay. And this is a people business.
Definitely.
We're doing laundry for people. And when those people walk into your store, they're going to bring in the self-service customers. They're going to bring in clothing or bedding for the most part, right? They're going to wear it on their body or sleep on it in their beds. It's kind of personal to them. So when you offer them, the best service, then they'll trust you. You have to be trusted with that. My store is the cleanest in Orange County, and people, it's number one compliment, and they trust us to be clean. During COVID, they already knew, they're fine. We didn't change any policies. We just increased the frequency of it. We didn't change any products because we were already using the best. And I showed them, look, it kills everything. See, SARS, kills SARS. It's the same thing. It says it on the bottle. The labels don't say COVID yet. But
so let me take a pause and back you up for a second.
Please.
So yeah, your laundromat itself, you closed on the laundromat.
Mm-hmm.
Did you close the laundromat down, or did you have a plan to renovate?
So I walked in on a lease. I didn't have to pay for anything. I ended up getting $2,500 for everything that's in it, which seems cheap, but they came and took it away for me. The boiler, all the washers, all the dryers. It had to be a full retool and a total gut, it turns out. And so I intended to turn this place into a palace. I was going to buy the best of everything. I was going to create something, like I said, beyond my customers' wildest expectations. And I was going to hire a staff and build a team to surround me to execute this vision. And, that sounds great to say it. And it's life altering to actually accomplish that in a good way. And I had this vision of building this beautiful store, a certain type of corrugated wall, a certain type of glass front vending machines, and just kind of build this kind of industrial outdoor feeling place that doesn't make you feel closed in. The ceiling's blue. I'm not trying to make it be like the sky. It's a slate blue, but it's kind of like the sky. The ground or the floor is this red kind of a non-slip quartz flooring. It's kind of like red sand, but I'm not trying to be like the beach, but I am by the beach. But it's just got this really comfortable feel to it. We got the solar tubular skylights bringing in natural light. Yes, that helps on the electrical bill, but it really gives you a fresher mood when you're in there. And but it doesn't feel like it's overly sterile either, and it feels lived in, but it's clean. And so I had this vision, and I never deviated from that. And some things had to be adjusted because of logistics and building, but we retooled and rebuilt. It took 10 months. Shouldn't have taken 10 months. I could do it again right now in probably 5 or 6 months for $150,000 cheaper than I did it the first time. But hey, that's what it's like to be a rookie. When rates are a lot better now. But
so I know one of the things you really pride yourself on is the size of the store. And I know this is common in California, roughly 1,800 square feet.
Yeah.
And you feel like you've really optimized that space. Can you walk us through the things that you've done that can help our audience?
Yeah, I did the right machine mix. Only 3 sizes of machines, 20s, 40s, and 55s. We call it 2, 4, and 6 loaders.
Okay.
We're the only store in the area with 4 6 loaders.
So that's not common to have 4 6 loaders in the California area?
In the smaller stores.
Okay.
That
makes sense.
Especially if based on the vintage of the store. So this was a 40-year-old store. The one closest to me is probably about 25 to 30 years old. So they have one Dexter 40. That's their big machine. So it just depends on kind of what was the latest at that time that it was bought or equipment was bought. And so I wanted to build it out, but I only had 1,800 square feet. So it had to be a shotgun store and I had to maximize floor space. And so this is what came out. Every single inch was accounted for. If I could take this piece of wood out here, I could get the dryers over 2 more inches. That makes the distance between the doorway and the water heater, legal kind of thing. I've got 7 foot 2 inches on this end of the bulkhead for customers to come around, which gives me 8 foot 4 inches over there, which is I need more because we put the carts over there. That sort of thing. I maximized the store. Went from 650 pounds of wash capacity in the old store to 975 in this one, in the same footprint with the same 2-inch water line that was already there and 6-inch going out, and increase the capacity by about 40% and decrease the water usage by at least half, given per turn. And so now all of a sudden, the store could do a lot more laundry in a much shorter period of time with the soft mounts. The wash cycles are between 18 to 33 minutes while being effective. And so the customers could get through there a lot quicker. We advertise wash and dry in under an hour, and bring everything and anything that you can get in here. We've had king size goose down pillow tops in the 6 loaders. Those are tougher to dry in the 45-pound stacks, but we know how to kind of finagle it. We always, come get us, we'll help you, kind of thing. And so the trick is with the fluff and fold to process kind of in between the customers, knowing the rushes that happen every day. When they happen, you want to do this kind of laundry at this time of the day. You want to wait for later on to do the commercial stuff that needs more equipment, but is easier. So we kind of over the years kind of structured the shifts, the personnel around what kind of laundry is processed on that shift, what time of day. We do run an overnight shift 5 nights a week. So 5 nights a week during closing in between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. we got 1 or 2 people in there doing laundry at the store closed. In this neighborhood, it's by the beach. Will never be 24 hours. I never want to be 24 hours. I think the kind of clientele that comes in really starts to decline after 7 p.m. Good people still come in at 9, 10 o'clock, but it declines. Okay, so I don't want to know who the 11 and 12 o'clock majority people are.
Completely understandable. So you are okay. Yeah. So you are not. I want to drill into your business model, if that's okay, Daniel. So you're not open 24 hours.
No.
What hours are you open?
It's 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Last wash is at 9.
Okay. And are you fully attended during that time?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And being by the beach, it really gives everyone that sense of security to have someone there, and the 12 HD surveillance cameras help too.
Yep.
And so that's the number one, safety. And this comes right out of the CLA survey, what customers look for. And the stores, first, it's clean, it's safe, there's a machine. Then number 4 is price. And going back again to another survey, 2/3 of the customers are women that go to the laundry. My experience and my observation is that 3/4 of the women that come into my store are there by themselves. So the formula is simple. Keep the store safe and clean for the ladies. And that gets you a long, long way, because if the ladies feel safe there, they're going to come every week. Families are going to come. And a lot of people suggest, you ever think about selling alcohol? I'm like, no. Why not? Well, health department for 1, glass breakage 2, drainage, refrigeration. But here's the important one. Drunk guys next to ladies by themselves folding their underwear. No. You want a drink? Go next door. I got a bar right there. I don't think any women are going in there folding their, well, most women are not going in there to fold their underwear, but it's California. Some of them will, but I don't, but that's,
So I love that you took this space that across the industry, I know in your market, it's not small. Across the industry, people would consider to be small. You focused on a word that I use called throughput, but it's just efficiency is all it is. You hyper focused on that. You said, I want to be top of the industry when it comes to cleanliness, all the core competencies of our business model. So what happened? You opened, you had a grand opening. I think, have I even seen like a picture of you actually cutting ribbon and stuff?
Well, that was a ribbon cutting. Yeah, we opened in June, and the ribbon cutting, I don't think it was until November. So that first day I brought in $44 and it just started growing from there. And, you know, word of mouth was king. I did all sorts of advertising, pizza boxes and flyers that I made myself.
When was this? Remind me again. What year was this that it opened? 14 when it opened.
Yeah. Okay. So this is 14 in summertime. And so we really kind of got traction after the summer, and then had the ribbon cutting with the Chamber of Commerce, and so that was cool. And again, we have one of the most popular taco shops in the city right next door. So we're between a dive bar and a popular taco shop. Half of my Yelp reviews mention the taco shop. And a lot of the customers, they'll start the wash and then they'll go get tacos. They'll come in, put it in the dryer, and go get a drink next door.
Being in a strip center with foot traffic is important. Yeah. You were talking about the word of mouth, and the one thing's for sure, they'll never come to your store if they don't know you exist. And this was 2014. There's a million ways to advertise your laundromat, but one of them is being in a busy strip center, whether it's tacos or beer or whatever, doesn't even matter. It's just that people are walking in the parking lot and on the sidewalk and know that you're there, because they may not do laundry that day, but they will do laundry when they have when they have a need for a laundromat, they will remember that you are there. So your point in all that, in that joking, is that the foot traffic actually matters, and it was a big part of helping you get off the ground. And how long did it take you to get profitable? Do you mind me asking? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was month 6 that I stopped losing money.
Okay.
I didn't start taking money out of the business until almost the second year, because I wanted to, grow my cash. And, I stopped losing money in month 6. I was still in a hole till about a year and a half. Well, but that's pretty fast for an 1,800 square foot store.
Well, especially a new build. I mean, this was a significant investment for you. For those that don't know, when you launch a new business like this, the first goal is get to break even, which is what you're talking about. Yeah. Just stop bleeding money, because you can break even forever. But most people, unless they're very wealthy, can't lose money forever. You get to that point, and then you say, okay, let's get profitable. Those are the goals of a new business. Especially with a substantial investment like you have. So in 14, you launched the business. Within 6 months, you're breaking even. Within shortly after that, you're profiting, but you're practicing what I call delayed gratification, so that you can invest and pile up some cash and build up a nest egg. At what point did you launch your pickup and delivery business? Because I know that's a big part of your business nowadays.
Well, both Fluff and Fold and pickup and delivery were launched by my customers. And so the Fluff and Fold is always part of it. I even have it's a big sign that says drop off above the front counter. And I just didn't start that right away, because I wanted to get the staff comfortable with the store and the equipment and the flow before I wanted to kind of soft pedal that in. Well, this one customer came in and said, "It's time to drop off here. I'm leaving my laundry." And she left. I was like, fine, I guess we're doing that lady's laundry. So we did the laundry and called her the next day and said, well, get over here and pay us. No, so that's what started it. And, because I wanted to spend more time getting to know the POS and the system. Jeff Gardner wrote an article back then about starting Fluff and Fold. And the thing that stuck with me, the big takeaway was you have to have a good, simple system and stick to it. And labeling is gospel. And if 90% of all Fluff and Fold mistakes are because of a label, either it wasn't there was the wrong one there, or you didn't look at it. And that's gospel. I mean, that has to be, the system has to be there. So I wanted to dial that in. And then pickup and delivery came about because some of the Airbnb customers wanted us to just take it back to their location or give it to their cleaning people. And I think there was a salon that was looking for service. And so, some of it starts the same way. You've heard the story before. The owner pulls up in his car and dumps off the laundry. Got a few, commercial customers calling us up. How do you find commercial customers? That's going to be a question people have. Mm-hmm. You got to have a good website. You got to have a web presence. I don't spend much money on SEO. I have good natural SEO because there's the closest store with a good online presence 4 miles away from me. Not everyone's going to be that lucky, but the further away the next online presence is, the cheaper it is for you to build a good natural organic SEO. But I do spend $500 a month on Google ads.
Is that promoting your pickup and delivery, your drop off,
everything.
your self? Okay, everything.
I've got different messages. I've got the self-service message, the drop off message, and then residential, and then the commercial message for pickup and delivery. And so it depends on, that gives a lot of different words of, when someone's sitting down at the computer looking for us, they're going to type in different things in that search bar. So we found our niches, and we have a few of them.
You see yourself as more of a boutique type of service, and I mean that in a very respectful way, by the way.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, more personalized service. See, we're still small enough to be flexible for different customers, but we still have economies of scale.
Yeah.
Because of the equipment we have, the procedures we have, and how well my team runs the show.
Yeah.
And so I tell them all the time, I pay you to think. You're not a fast food employee where you have to read the handbook and memorize. They got little cutaways of the taco, at the taco shop. This is exactly how much meat. This is exactly how much cheese. I'm like, oh, poor. They're human beings. They can learn. They can, let them think on their own. So I let them.
I call that empowering them. Empower them to make decisions.
Yeah, or just letting them.
Yeah.
And because I always tell them, look, I'm going to always get your back, even if you're wrong. I'm going to get your back unless you're really wrong. But then we'll fix it up in the in the background afterwards, and we'll fix it for next time. And
do you find that your employees appreciate that from the owner?
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I treat them like people. We have a family type atmosphere there, and that's not just because half my employees are all part of one family. But a third. But and it's not something you can do deliberately. It's something you could want to create, and I always did. Remember when I was talking before about wanting to build a team around me that bought into my vision? Well, I achieved that, but it's not because that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to do things the right way. Now, what I realized was, for most of these people who I employ, had no laundry experience. At least half of them don't even like laundry, but they like what we have there. They like how close the staff is to each other. They like the community. We have one of the best clienteles in the business. I tell them that too. We have a wonderful clientele.
What do you attribute that to? How do you attract a higher end customer? Is that what you're saying?
How we treat the customers, how we respect them, and how we show that by giving them good customer service, answering any question they might have with the equipment, and giving them tips, just being nice, and keeping the store clean. Is that keeping the clean store and the vending machines full, and the soap out of the dispensers is some of the best ways you could show respect to your customers.
So you feel like you attract a higher end clientele because you take pride in your business, and that reflects and attracts a certain type of customer.
Yeah, and it's their store. They feel like it's their store. And sometimes when I have to come down on somebody, you could see it in their eyes. It's like, oh, they backpedal right away because they're afraid that I might, 86 them from the store. And they're like, no, don't make me go somewhere else.
Very good. You know something? No soup for you. Come back 1 year. Next.
It's that kind of community where it's like you always want to be a part of it. When you go there, you feel like you were somewhere. You're by the beach. We're having a good time. We're working hard. The front door faces the ocean, so you get that breeze.
Wow, that's amazing.
it's a great atmosphere, and
Fantastic.
it's everything I could think of. I'd want to build, and I want to do it again. I don't know if all the pieces will ever be the same like that. And this was a dream to walk in. That I didn't buy the business. I walked into a lease, retooled. I cut my teeth.
I think that's reflective of is just your pride in the work and your passion as an entrepreneur, which is what makes you successful and separates you. That, and you're just a person that cares about other people and wants to serve your community and bring what I call a high level of value proposition. So congratulations for what you've built, because I am aware how much blood, sweat, and tears goes into that. What labor of love that is. And it's not easy to do.
This business quickly turned into something much bigger than me, and which is why I always refer to it as we, because it stopped becoming I or mine not that long after we opened.
Yeah.
I'm not pulling half the hours in that place overall anymore. I'm pulling a small percentage because there's more people, and a lot of them are pulling big hours.
What is this? People always say laundromats, they're a passive business. Why are you working so hard?
Yeah, doesn't this thing run itself?
Anyone who says that, so anyone who thinks that, there are 3 locations in my city I want you to buy.
Yes, I like to use. I like when people say stuff like that. I like to say, I love competitors like that. They're fantastic. They're fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Look, in order to compete in the modern laundromat environment, to actually make a living off of something, it is more of a passion. It's a job. It's I'm my own boss, but I'm also my own employee, and that's something I need to work on. So I do get stuck too much in it. Not all the time. I do know how to get away. But it's something that it comes with years of practice. And definitely the pandemic didn't help that. It put me more in the business more often than I was, which is a blessing also, because there have been points of time I have delegated too much and lost a little bit of focus, and then something swung me right back into it. It's tough finding the balance sometimes. And hell, I'm only 42, only got 1 store. Yeah. I got a long way to go. The balance will come later. And I don't know. We're gonna have kids soon, so we'll everything will go out the window.
That's gonna throw a whole new wrench.
Well, I just want to take this moment to first say thank you for joining us on the podcast. Thanks for being so open and transparent and sharing your stories, your secrets to success. But the other thing I just want to say is congratulations on what you've accomplished so far. And I can't wait to see what you're doing next. So listen, before we close out this episode, we just like to give you the opportunity, if our audience or guests or anyone, if they want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
You can, let's see. It kind of depends. If you want to just kind of see what we're about, you could go to the website and at perfectwashhb.com. Be careful, there's 2 H's there. And kind of check out an overview of the store. You could get from the website, you can link to our social media. There's a Facebook page, there's a Instagram, and then if you want to contact, there's an email there, info@perfectwashhb.com. I'm one of several people on that email that'll get it, so if it's directed towards me, I'll find it.
Sure.
But keep an eye out for some of the articles in Planet Laundry. I've been in there a few times. I think it was like 2 years ago, I wrote a 2-part article about branding. And I think that's a great.
That is a great article, by the way. People should check that out.
For people looking into the industry, how to build from where you're at. That's a great, I really enjoyed writing that piece. It started as a presentation for a symposium through Continental. And then I contacted Bob Neiman at Planet Laundry and asked him if he thought it'd be a good idea for me to adapt it to an article. And he gave me two editions on that. And that's fantastic.
Great stuff. You did a great job. So hopefully you continue to share like that. Thank you for joining us on this episode. And we appreciate you once again, you know, kind of donating your time and giving back to the industry. We look forward to catching up with you in the future. Hopefully someday we're going to have a clean show soon, and we can we can be in person maybe someday.
No, but Dave and Carla, you know, likewise, you guys are doing something really neat here. The technology's kind of allowed us to share that. You're able to disseminate a nice message here, and you guys are collaborators like myself. I mean, you like to involve people and have people share their stories and make it about them. But I want to shed the light on you guys. I think you're doing a terrific job, really bringing a lot of great attention to this industry and getting involved with all the players that are in there. And of course, we all get to learn from each other, and there's a great benefit being in that position. But what you guys are offering in return is quite valuable to all of us, and all of us who are watching you, on social media and watching your podcast. And so I want to thank you for everything that you guys are bringing to this industry as well.
Well, thank you. Thanks. We really appreciate you saying that. Listen, to our audience, thank you guys for joining us on this episode, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.